What's up, sports fans? If you're sports fans, you're in the wrong YouTube video. This is for music nerds. This is a follow-up to a video that I just published a few days ago about the Korg WD-1, the original Wavedrum from the early 90s that Korg put out there. It's a electronic percussion instrument. If you didn't see the first video, go back and take a look. It's very cool, and I'm not going to go through every feature, but I did receive the remote editor, the RE-1. So you got the WD-1 and the RE-1. That should tell you the vintage of these the devices. They're first generation. So what I have here is, yeah, this is the RE-1. Um, it's a device about, I don't know, the size of a tablet. It's a little thicker, and it has a cable, just an 8-pin DIN cable. It's a standard cable. I've seen some of these for sale on eBay and other Reverb. Some don't have the cable, some don't. Don't worry if you try to buy one and it doesn't have the cable. You can just buy a standard, what's called an 8-pin DIN cable, and that works fine with it. The device is plugged in and gets its power from the Wavedrum. And there is a 8-pin DIN port on the back of the Wavedrum that, basically you plug it into. It's meant for this remote editor. And the remote editor then there's a little switch that turns it on now, and it's plugged in and the switch is not enabled. You get this just simple title screen, which is kind of cool. But once you turn the edit feature on the device, you get subtly a set of screens now and light up controls, and these buttons do stuff, and that's when all the magic happens. So the remote editor is complicated. It doesn't have like a very intuitive interface, but if you understand the concepts in there, you can use it right away. I've only had it for a day and just started using it today. So I did get the manual for it. The manual is a whopping 2 pages long. It literally just has a list of things, very, very simple list. One thing it says here is great. The REI is a sophisticated digital music device with many functions. Therefore, we suggest that you keep this manual handy at all times for reference. Okay, but the manual basically just has a list of what the buttons are, and that's it. That's the end of it. And also things like don't use it near fluorescent lights, I guess. But um, the device has these buttons and faders primarily, and then some page up and page down, some programmable keys here. Everything that you need to know about how to use this thing is actually not in this manual, but rather it's in the device, the instrument manual. So here there's a whole section about how to use it. Actually, it's the majority of the manual is about the REI, or the RE-1 rather. And it has schematics in there, the algorithms, and it has all the parameters and the sort of signal flow and everything else like that. It's a very comprehensive manual for using the RE-1 to edit patches on the on this guy. So for instance, I'll just go into the close-up camera. I've picked my talking drum as a standard here, and these function keys kind of take you through the different banks of the editable controls, the parameters. Function 1 kind of tells us the basics, what the source is. In fact, we can actually change the source in the on the drum remotely through here, which is cool. It tells you the tuning, and then you can see these programmable buttons. So if I go to here, this now corresponds to, visually kind of lines up with the items on the screen that you can edit. Decay over here, tuning over here, and it's not precise. You kind of have to look at, see what flashes. And then there's these page up and page down for some of these parameters. Now you can see there's a lot of features here. The brightness, the band range, there's a lot of stuff that I just need to learn. The bend range, yeah. And then these pages full of pressure sensitivity, the output level, all these things, the assigned tuning, the range. These are all the tension, like these are all things that you can change. So every one of these parameters is exposed. The algorithms kind of have the set of parameters that are assigned to each of the presets. And then it's in the editor that you can go in and tweak those and save those. And if you screw it up, there's a reset button over on the front of the drum that you can go back to and take it back. There's even reset, menu features here. Further, now you've got sort of program settings in here. You've got the ability to copy or call the preset or reset. And then you've got the MIDI settings. And so far, I think these 4 buttons are the only ones that are active. I haven't noticed anything on the 5 and 6. So those must be reserved for, more advanced Korg devices or different models. But over here, you can see that there's a channel to turn on the MIDI, what MIDI note it is, whether or not you send the pedal information through to the attached MIDI devices and things like that. And here again, you have additional ones about the sort of resetting or sending the parameters and saving and loading those control parameters from, you can store those externally. All right, so that's kind of a very quick walkthrough of what the device does. Of course, it doesn't produce any sounds. It doesn't have any sounds, it just relies on the sounds that are in the drum. What I did was I actually just played around a little bit with my friend, the tabla. We used that in our recording, the last time when I introduced the drum. And so it's really this great expressive patch that has all these controls, on the head, the pressure sensitivity and the different ways you can attack and stuff like that. And then what I did was I plugged the MIDI out of this drum into my workstation and have created a patch in Logic that I'll show you. That basically I thought it would be cool to see once you can turn MIDI on, which actually wasn't as easy to understand how that worked. And it was great when I figured out that all that was available through the RE-1, just to turn it on and then assign note values, etc. So I've assigned the MIDI output to channel 1 and the note value to 36. Which is C2, so for like a drum set, general MIDI, that's the bass drum. And then I kind of created this crazy patch over here. It's a track stack that has arpeggiators and, different ethnic kits, Chinese kits in here, the Middle Eastern kits in here. There's some stuff from, if you know anything about Alchemy, it's got some arpeggiated tracks in there as well. And, some of them have some aftertouch and some other kinds of parameters in there as well. And so what I found was that there's 2 things that are really interesting about the MIDI integration for the Wavedrum. One is it does pass the other parameters through. The pedal you can turn on and off, but aftertouch does pass through. Like for me to be able to change the pitch of my drum here, that change actually sends out to the through the MIDI to the other devices. The other thing is that there's a threshold. So notice I've been playing kind of lightly over here as I've been talking. If I start playing harder at a certain threshold, and maybe that's a setting that is in the RE-1 that I haven't found yet, but at a certain threshold, it passes the note value over to the external device. So notice that, like, I can kind of control just by dynamics when the big drum, I'm just going to call it for the purposes of our discussion, when the big drum starts firing off. And that allows me to do some really cool stuff, like play, with sort of sensitivity. And then when I want to go into bigger dynamics, I can kind of just invoke the big drum. Now you can hear I have this kind of crazy sound that's part of the patch, and when I change the hear it when I change aftertouch values over here, it sends them over to the drum and then the MIDI device. All right, so one more time through. That's it. This felt like a really cool discovery I wanted to share with folks. For being this old machine, this Wavedrum is 30 years old plus, and it has, in my opinion, like sort of cutting edge capabilities because of how extensible it was. The remote editor is again old kit for sure, but it does unlock the capabilities of the device in a big way. Things that I haven't even discovered yet. I'm sure that the integrations and the ability to change parameters here, save my settings off and reload them. There's just so much there. So I'm not gonna, even in my lifetime, gonna be able to use all the capabilities of this device. Fun stuff. And just a quick hello to everyone. Thanks for the views on the last video. I'm hoping to continue to give you some more. All right, see ya.